Child, the winds obey. Well, welcome to Friday Fundamentals. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. This time, last Friday, we were in Charlotte, North Carolina, in what we call Brotherhood Voices. It was a dialogue and discussion in the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, sponsored by the Sugar Creek congregation, Sugar Creek Church of Christ in Charlotte, North Carolina. Brother Jack McNeil is the minister there. A number of preachers presented, and we had just a great time in the Lord. Several questions were asked, and we did our very best to answer those questions. I want to share with you a clip of Saturday morning's panel discussion, and I hope I can get this right. And then I want to come back and then have a little dialogue with you about this clip that you're going to see. Let's see if I can get this share screen to go right, to do right. We'll see here. All righty. Let's see.
Let me be a little transparent, and because I think I hear what some are saying. I was raised by a single mother, but when my mother and father were together, my father obeyed the gospel and was a member of the Church of Christ. They divorced, and my father remarried. And after he remarried, he became a Baptist deacon. And he was the head deacon. He was the only deacon. And he would call me after I started preaching. My mom passed when I was 13, but he would call me after I started preaching. I was married, and he'd be studying his Sunday school lesson, and he might be in Leviticus or whatever, and he'd ask me a question, and he said, Mike, what does this verse mean? And I would tell my daddy, that verse means, whatever it was, I don't care where it was, I would tell him that verse means there's only one church, and that church is the Church of Christ.
Right. Yeah.
And then he said, boy, don't be playing with me. And I said, Daddy, I'm not playing. There's only one church, and that church is the Church of Christ. But my daddy was baptized and became a member of the Church of Christ, left the Church of Christ, went to the Baptist church. He would not have to be rebaptized if he repented of being in the Baptist church because he had already been baptized. I think what I'm hearing, and I agree with what everybody has said, but what I'm hearing is there's theory and there's practice, because there are some denominations that teach a profession of faith. If you just profess faith in Jesus Christ, then and you can transfer your membership out of a denominational church into the one church. And many of you sitting in the audience right now may have come out of a denominational church. And sometimes it sounds a little confusing, but it's not really confusing. What I'm hearing, yes, you have to obey the gospel of Jesus Christ. You have to respond to that message, and you have to be baptized. I think where we have to be careful with how people think. And I've had several situations where people wanted to be members of Church of Christ when we were in Tucson, Arizona. A Caucasian couple, I still remember them. This was my first church, Dave and Christy Vaca. Came out of Christian church, great couple, had 2 young children, and they were involved coming, and they wanted to be members of the Southside Church of Christ, Tucson, Arizona. And I was a young preacher, and so, and Dave and I talked, and I said, Dave, well, everybody who's a member of this church has been baptized, and you might be the first person that would do something different. The point I'm trying to make is I've never had a problem with a person who became a member of the Church of Christ, who was part of a denomination, being baptized. Usually, if a person's heart is right, they'll be baptized just so that they don't cause any division within that congregation. I've never had a problem with a person whose heart was right and they understood what we teach and what we believe. I think we got to be careful that you don't want to start pointing fingers at people. And some of us grew up in the Church of Christ, and then you see people from denominations, and you know that they, like my daddy.
All righty, let's see what we can do here. Can we stop the share? Can we stop the share? All righty, let's see. That was part of the answer to a question about obedience and response. But oftentimes we find ourselves where individuals want to transfer membership from one church to another church, from one faith group to another faith group. Now, let's keep in mind the problems that we have today did not exist in the first century because there was only one church. If you were baptized, you became a member of the Lord's church. And now there are different faith groups that teach different things. There are some faith groups that say baptism is not even necessary for salvation. There are some who say baptism is an outward sign of an inward grace. There are some who just teach a profession of faith and that you're saved at the time that you accept the Lord in your heart as your personal Savior. We try to be careful now because Satan has confused the minds of many people with so many different beliefs, so many practices. And what we try to do is just encourage people to be sure. And my response to the question that came up is that usually people with good hearts don't have a problem, especially if they want to affiliate, associate, identify with that congregation that they're interested in. This may generate more questions, but that's all right. Until next time, may the Lord bless you, and may He bless you real good.